you can do that through the connection card. Let's pray. Father, thank you again for your wonderful presence in our worship together this morning. I pray now that you would bless the tithes, the offerings that are given for you, Lord, that you would use them in a profound way, that we might be able to be this hospital for hurting and broken people in our community, to reach out and be your hands and your feet. Give wisdom, great wisdom to the leadership of our church to know how to use these funds wisely. And we thank you in advance, God, for your blessing and your favor in our lives. We love you today. In your name I pray. Amen.
I want to talk to you today about how to run and finish strong. I'll explain in a minute, but before I do, let me let you know a couple things. Number one, next Sunday, we're having one service. We always do this a Sunday after Thanksgiving, meaning we don't have Sunday school or anything else. We have one service. That will be the case next week. Both services combined together at this many o'clock, 10 o'clock. What time? 10 o'clock. Please don't be here at 10:02. Be here early. Get some coffee. Greet one another. 10 o'clock. It'll be all church together. It's going to be a great service for Thanksgiving. And secondly, this Wednesday night at 7 o'clock is my annual Thanksgiving Eve service. I call it the meal before the meal. On Thursday, we'll have family gatherings and all that with turkey and stuffing and Brussels sprouts. No. Brussels sprouts? No. Remember? Yeah, no them. But we'll have that meal. What's more important is we have a meal together Wednesday night called communion. The word communion means Thanksgiving. I invite you all to come Thursday night. Bring your family, friends, anybody that's in town, neighbors. It's an easy invite to bring somebody Wednesday night. We'd love to have you here for that service. So that's some stuff this week. Let's roll on. Let's talk about finishing strong. So this past month, just a few weeks ago, a good handful of people from our church, I think somewhere around 30, participated in the Monumental Marathon and Half Marathon. Half Marathon is 13.1 miles. That's a long way. The full marathon was 26.2 miles. We had people participate in both, many of them for the first time ever. We challenged them to do something hard and finish it. And they did. Some of them have wounds and bruises and broken toenails and all kinds of stuff because of this, but they finished it and have a big medal that shows it. Let me show you some of the finishing pictures. By the way, if you post this stuff on Facebook, I just assume it's public domain. So, okay. All right. So Kelly Krockenberger rocking it right there. She's smoking. That's kind of mid-race, not the finish, but she's doing a great job. Here's a couple more. How about Scott Kasmer, who told me this morning he hated every second of it. But he finished, and he finished strong. How about this next one here? We've got Karen Arnold, who, first time ever, run the half marathon. Just really did a fantastic job. So proud of her. Keep rolling. Here, Doug Kossel, finishing. Maybe he thinks he's under arrest. I don't know, but he's just resigned. He's finishing. Good job, Doug. Half marathon there. This is my daughter and Rachel Maxwell. She got her orange tutu on. First half marathon for them. Great job. Did an awesome job. Kami Cassie. Now, I don't know about you, but this does not look like running to me. This looks like they got on a motorcycle. No, they did a great job. Proud of them. Who else we got here? A couple more? We got Christina Gregory, who was our leader. Now that is finishing strong right there, is it not? She's happy to finish strong. Okay, she's done, okay? And the spry father and daughter right there finishing up arm in arm, so to speak. There you go. Who else we got? My wife and Jen finishing their first full marathon. So proud of them. Good job. And Kyle Lingle, who smoked all of us. He was the fastest of all of us, did a great job. Proud of him and his brothers and dad. And Pastor Jimmy, his great contribution for the day because his foot was hurting. No, he sprained it pretty bad at a youth event. He's still got a brace on, but anyway. So proud of them for finishing strong. Look at Hebrews 12:1. Let me show you this verse. Run with endurance the race God has set before us. Now that's a spiritual race that's before us, your life of following Christ. But there are all kinds of little races in life that we want to finish with strength. And one of those, as we're heading towards the end of a year, is to think about our year. We want to finish this year strong as Christians and as people. We start every year strong. We think about starting strong in January because we make resolutions and commitments, and we join the gym, and we get new clothes and new haircuts and all kinds of new at the new year. We start strong. Oftentimes people finish the year very weak in mind, but I don't want that for you. Christ doesn't want that for you. We want to end with a lot of strength, because the beginning matters of any journey, but what really matters the most of any life journeys is the end. I mean, it all matters, but think about your marriage. And you want to be faithful all the way to the end. That matters. Your Christian life, you want to be faithful to God all the way to the end. It matters how we finish. So we're at the finish line of 2016. Thanksgiving this Sunday, or this Thursday. Then Christmas is upon us and all that. Then New Year's. And a lot of these holidays are on us. And we want to end with strength. Too many people end with weakness. I think that's one of the reasons why January has all these resolutions and stuff. It's because sometimes we end the year with too much stress and too much food and too much whatever and too much debt, and we got to start over at the beginning of the year. We feel that. I want you to finish this year with strength. So today I want to tell you, we're going to focus on two things. Number one, I'm going to give you a vision how you can finish strong with your church, and we'll spend just a few moments on that. The majority of the time I want to spend on you and how you can finish your year out in your life. Because I know ultimately we're here to serve you. You aren't here to serve the church, but this is your church. And so there are three ways I envision the church finishing strong. Let me just be a couple minutes on this, then I'm going to spend the most of the time helping you in your own journey. But there's some things we need from you so we can finish strong. Three things. First of all, let's finish strong with our relationships. John 13 could not be any clearer. Jesus talking to his followers like us. Love one another. I mean, you can't misquote that. You can't misinterpret that. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this, by loving each other, everyone will know that you are my disciples. People know that we are followers of Jesus because of how we love each other. Not because of our church services or because of our music or because of our building or anything else. Although it all factors in, I think. But primarily, Jesus says it's how we love each other that people will know that we are his followers. I hope that if the city of Indianapolis or the world were to look at West Side this Christmas, they would say, that's people who follow Jesus because we love each other. The end of the year is a great time to love each other with encouragements and meals and gifts and notes and cards and prayer and time. I hope our church would lavish love on each other at the end of this year. I kid you not. If every soul and every heart and every mind was laid bare among us, the need for relationships will be so overwhelming we couldn't stand it in this room. We need that. There are people in this room hurting that need a friend. There are people in this room rejoicing, need a friend, and everything in between. So let's lavish love on each other. Secondly, let's be strong with our attendance because it matters. Numbers matter. I'll tell you why. Hebrews 10, let us consider how we may spur one another on towards love and good deeds, not giving up meeting, that's worship, together, as some are in the habit of doing. Some are in the habit of just not going to church all the time. I don't know how they make it through the week, but some are in the habit. And let's do it all the more as we see the day approaching. So it matters. Every passing second, we're getting closer to Jesus' return, and it matters that we're gathering together for love and good deeds and encouragement. That matters. Every person in attendance represents somebody whose life is being changed and they're growing deeper with Jesus. Let me just show you our attendance patterns for the past 4 months since we've Gone to 2 services. July, August, September, and October. You see it growing every month there. Now, October, we had an inflated Sunday because of the 100th, but still growing, new people, adding new people, and God is bringing us some new people. I'll tell you one new story of a gal's been coming about 3-4 weeks now. She came to our egg drop, our pumpkin chunkin' and trunk or treat. Says she's been coming for 3 years now and decided maybe she should come to church. She came to church, been coming to church. She said she hasn't been to church since she was 9 years old. Every person matters because we are in the business of depopulating hell. And so every seat that's filled in here just makes me think that we're on our journey to doing just that. We want the numbers of hell to go down and the numbers of the kingdom to go up. So these numbers matter. In December, let's have services packed and Sunday schools busting at the seams. And there's going to be a couple of ways in which we can do that. One is December 11th. That's the kids program. It's going to be either a great thing or a disaster. You got to come for either reason. All the kids in the church and all the kids in the preschool are going to join me for the sermon. I mean, this stage will be full of over 120, 130 kids. It will be awesome, or a train wreck, so you don't want to miss it. Big, great day. And the second one, this year, Christmas is on a Sunday. We are moving all of our services to Saturday, Christmas Eve, nothing on Sunday. All services are Saturday. We want to have a huge, big celebration together. This place should be packed. Those are easy things to invite somebody to. Because I think the stat I heard was like 91% of Americans go to church at Christmas time. Invite somebody. Every seat in here can be full. Let's finish strong that way. And thirdly and lastly is we want to finish strong with our finances. 2 Corinthians 9, look at this. This is one of the best Bible passages on being generous and giving to the church. Whoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly. And whoever sows generously will also reap generously. Well, that's cool as it is. God loves a cheerful giver. You will be enriched in every way so that you can be generous on every occasion. And through us, your generosity will result in thanksgiving to God. So we want to be a generous church. Here's the goal. So through the year, for all our finances, tithing, and all kinds of stuff, our budget's about a little over $1.2 million, and we're $55,000 under that budget. Now, I know $1.2 million sounds like a lot. I wish that was my home budget. Don't you wish that was yours? That'd be great. So you think about 1.2, we're under 55,000. What's the big deal? Well, it's a very big deal because we operate on a lean budget, and it keeps us from doing things. Our ministry plans rise and fall depending on hitting budget. So our goal is to not only carry the year strong into week-to-week goal, but to catch up. We should put ketchup everywhere. Heinz 57, everywhere. Ketchup on this offering. Now, your question should be, I'll ask you the right question. Your question should be, well, if we give this money to you, what are you going to do with it? Why should we give anything extra? What are we going to do with that? Is it legit? That's a great question. Here's 4 things out of many. The top priority for the church right now is to hire a full-time children's pastor. Pastor Tiffany has been doing a fantastic job, and we need to put her fully with the preschool. I've told you about this before. She is doing an awesome job in that preschool. It is amazing. It's so full. You know how full it is? If you want to enroll your baby in our baby care, September of next year is the next opening we have. It is that full and doing well. So we got to open some more classes. We're going to open 3 more classes. It's hard to have 2 full-time jobs, so we need her to do that fully. And the board, we met. I gave them the job description, and in faith, we are going for a full-time children's pastor because it matters. Your kids matter to us. We need your help to seed that ministry. It's expensive to do that sort of thing. So that's the biggest. The second one is facility stuff. Always stuff around this old building that needs fixing and repairing. Just happens. Same is true in your house, right? Need a little slush fund for that. Thirdly, and I know this isn't all that glamorous, but it's so true. It's true for you and for any church. You got to have a little money set aside for winter. Like squirrels set aside their nuts for winter, you got to have a little money set aside. We need that so that when a snowy storm hits and Sundays our attendance go down because we had a snowstorm that Sunday morning and offerings come down, we got to be able to manage that. Same with you. You got to have some savings. And the last thing, I call it margin. Margin. Everybody, including us, church, you need a little margin. The best things in life happen in the margin. Meaning this, we hate to have to say no to a ministry or a donation or giving money or whatever when we don't have it. We want to be in a position where when God says, I want you to fund this, I want you to do this, we can say, we got the money for it. Now, we don't do that frivolously, but we just need that margin. So those are 4 things we want to finish strong. Relationally, attendance-wise and finances. Now, enough about the church. Let's get on to your life, because that matters more to me to help you grow spiritually. It really does. So let's talk about stress. Christmas is the most wonderful, stressful time of the year. It's the most wonderful, stressful time of the year, right? Seems like it should be right in there. Let me tell you some things. 45% of people would prefer to skip Christmas because of the stress. It's all good stuff, but added together, it's tough. And these things that lead us to have a stressful end of the year. Let me tell you some stuff. So in the next 40 days, we'll do all kinds of crazy stuff, including completely redecorating our house and then completely undecorating our house. That's a lot to begin with. And you got to unravel those lights, and you got to find the one light bulb that's like not out. Make you want to swear, won't it? The one bulb, why did they do that? You know, you got to do all that. You got to find the perfect tree, all that sort of thing. Go into the attic, carry it all down. Then you got to shop, the shopping stress. Black Friday is coming. Starts Thursday at like 8 a.m. I don't know when it starts, but it's all day Thursday. You got to find the perfect gift. Not just the gift, but the perfect gift. And you got to buy gifts for people you don't like or family members you haven't seen in a year, that sort of thing. And did you know this? Of the divorces that happen in December, 16% of the divorces in December happen because they simply just don't want to buy each other a gift. Isn't that amazing? Then you got to wrap the presents. Come on, some of you wait till Christmas Eve. We know. Christmas morning, all right. Then you got family stress. And, always got the EGR member of your family, right? The EGR member, extra grace required family member. You got one of those? You got to deal with them. Then you get the cooking and the baking, the cookies and all that, and all the stuff, all the cooking, starts this week with the turkey. Then you've got to have the pressure to have the perfect Hallmark moment. Your family all dressed in beautiful flowing hair and clothes and a sleigh and the snow lightly dripping down and chestnuts are roasting on open fire and the angels are, whoa, your family is wonderful. We feel like we got to have that. And how many of us have it? I don't know if anybody ever has that. That's why the Hallmark Channel is doing so well, because we watch their show. Then the traffic, it's everywhere. It's already bad out here. It's everywhere worse. And then you got the money stress, gifts, decor, donations, food, money. Then, did I mention family? Family stress? Okay. Then you've got Salvation Army bell ringers. Nothing wrong with them, but that bell piercing is so loud. It's just so loud. Then you've got a couple dreaded statements. Christmas dreaded statements. Some assembly required. Batteries not included. You never see that till Christmas morning, right? Or this famous one that your wife or husband may give to you. This is terrible. Oh, you don't have to give me anything. Oh, don't say that. We know we have to get you something. Just tell us what to get. Then you got the weight gain. Then you got the Christmas cards. We got to write a card to everybody we know in the month. Then we've got the music, which is great, but then you get sick of it after you've heard Grandma got run over by a reindeer for the 1,000th time, or all I want is a hippopotamus. What's that crazy one? Then they give the kids 2 weeks off school, because that doesn't add any stress, does it? The cleaning, I love my kids at home, but it's just more. Cleaning, traveling, family, loneliness, missing lost loved ones. You get the idea. The stress, and you could add stuff to that. It's a lot of stress. And it's the stress that can not enable us to finish the race of this year well. I'm going to give you 5 ways. 5 ways in which you can finish well this year. Now, here's my fear, and I've been thinking about this all week. My fear is that you'll do none of this. And that I've wasted my time today, even on myself. That's my fear. You don't have to do all of this. My prayer for you in these next few moments, 20, 25 minutes, is that you will let God discipline you. Where is it in your life that you need to be obedient here? All these things won't apply to you. Some of them will apply to you, maybe portions of them. My prayer is that you would listen and obey. So let's talk about 5 things. The first thing I want you to do is I want you to rebel this Christmas. I want you to rebel. Yes, you heard it in church. Rebel. Here's what I mean. When you think of a rebel, some people think of like James Dean, Rebel Without a Cause. Remember the old movie? Or you've got Billy Idol. Hear the rebel yell. Yeah, well, that's a pretty good impression. That's all I got. Or you got the rebel flag. You got that. Or all the rebellious people protesting Trump. And that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about anti-establishment. It's not what I'm talking about. I'm not asking you to become a Grinch that has 2 sizes heart two sizes too small. I'm not asking you to take the turkey back. I'm not asking that. But there's one person in the Christmas story who helps us understand what I mean, and it's Mary. Do you know what the name Mary means? The name Mary, go put it on screen, means rebellious. Mary means rebellious. That's what her name means. So if you ever meet anybody named Mary, that's the etymology of their name, rebellious. Now, when we think of Mary, we don't think of a rebel. We think of sweet, serene, nice, the blue dress, a little halo, the whole thing. And that she probably was all of that. Very wonderful woman. So we don't mean just mean and anti-establishment. But her name means rebel because through her came Jesus. And people rebelled in two really powerful ways. Number one, they rebelled in that day against the worship of Caesar. People died, not because they worshiped Jesus, but because they wouldn't also worship Caesar. They were rebellion against the Roman authority. Secondly, when Jesus came and he preached the gospel of good news, people followed him and they rebelled against all the religious institutions and the laws to follow the gospel of grace. So that's what we need to rebel. We need to rebel in a correct biblical sense. I'm not saying abandon traditions. Here's what I am saying. Abandon and rebel against consumerism and overspending. Bible's real clear about that. We need to rebel against that because saying yes to Jesus as you go into these holidays will mean that you say no to some other things. Overspending and consumerism are just two, and there may be more that God will speak to you about. We're being urged to buy stuff constantly. You even know the jingles. Finish this jingle if you know it, just out loud, real loud. Every kiss begins with, you know it. It's a great jingle. Great jingle, okay? But we know the jingles. We know the pressure. We got to go buy diamonds. I saw a billboard the other week somewhere in Indianapolis. It was a diamond, big diamond ring, huge, and it said, your girlfriend wants me. I'm like, what? That's a weird statement, but they want the diamond ring for Christmas. 50%, now I don't know if this is true. I read it on Google, and they never lie, right? But 50% of people who charged last Christmas are still paying it off this Christmas. Now, if that's true for you, you definitely should be listening to this. Isaiah 55. Now, I'm not anti-stuff. I'm not. Stuff's okay. Stuff's not the problem. But look at this. Isaiah 55. Come, all you who are thirsty. This is a passage about coming to Jesus, experiencing Jesus in the midst of holidays. It's really about that. Come, all you who are thirsty. Why spend money on what is not bread and your labor on what does not satisfy? Seek the Lord while he may still be found. The holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, is a special time to connect with God. Start rebelling, even if it's a little bit. Express love differently. Be full. Seek God rather than stuff is my point. What drives you is the point. Proverbs 22 is very powerful this time of year. The borrower is slave to the lender. I think God wants you to hear every year, do not go into debt over Christmas. Do not. Because Christmas is the time of year we celebrate the one who came to set us free. And debt is one of the ways that we put ourselves back into slavery. We need to rebel against that. That's number one. I'll let God speak to you specifically about that. The second one I want to talk to you about is your busyness. Busyness. We're all busy Christmas time. And there's a character from the original Christmas story who personifies this. The innkeeper. The guy who had no room for Jesus. So you know the story. The story goes this. Mary and Joseph are Mary's pregnant from the Holy Spirit. They're going to get married to Joseph. His whole world is rocked. He doesn't know what to do, but God says to marry them. Then meanwhile, Caesar Augustus said everybody should go to their hometown and register for a census. We would need to know how many people we have and how much money we need to tax. It's all about the money, right? So they go hundreds of miles or 150 miles or so from Nazareth to Bethlehem. That's where their hometown is to be registered. They get there. Well, everybody else has got to go too, so it's full. There are lots of people. The malls are full. The Applebee's is full. The Target's full. Everybody's full. The Holiday Inn is also full. But they get there, and ladies, maybe you can identify, she's pregnant. She is great with child. That means it's dropped and ready to come, And she's on the donkey or walking for a long ways. Water breaks. This is probably what happened. She tells Joseph, it's time. So he's looking for a room for her. He knocks on the door of the Holiday Inn. We need a room. We need a room. And the manager opens the door. The innkeeper says, sorry, we're full. Sorry, no room. Why don't you just go out and back in the barn? I mean, it's kind of creative for him to go back in the barn. I don't know if he charged him anything, but they went probably into a cave, slams the door, the thing's full. They go back and have the baby. Here's what it says in Luke 2. Mary gave birth to her firstborn, a son. She wrapped him in clothes and placed him in a manger. That's a feed trough is what that is, because there was no guest room available for them. This was a good thing for the innkeeper. Money, 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 money. His inn is full. Now, if you own a hotel, you want it full, right? You want every room full. You want to be making money in your enterprise. It's good for him. But he had no idea who he was snubbing. No idea. The Son of God could have been born in his hotel. Instead, born in a barn, a cave out back. Who knows if he even owned it? We don't really even know that. Can you imagine if he knew what was going on and he would have made room for them? Can you imagine the PR appeal? He could have put a sign up. The Messiah was born here. He totally could. And he would have sold out that hotel for the rest of his life. And it would still be sold out today. People would flock there for eternity. They would flock there to stay in the same room as the Messiah. I'm sure it would be a lot of money if they did that. He could have done that. He could have also opened a gift shop, you know. It had little snow globes with the manger scene and the little thimbles and the shot glass, you know, and the spoons, all that kind of stuff. You know, he could have done all that, made just tons of money, but he missed. You know why? Because his busyness with his business made him miss out on the greatest opportunity of his life. Now, I'm being a little facetious, but you get the idea. Are you too busy to make room for Jesus? This is a busy time of year. Here's how to finish strong. Stop filling your life with lesser important things. We really talked a lot about this last week with sloth. Don't let busyness keep you from knowing God. Psalms 39 says it this way. A man's busy rushing, it ends in nothing. Busyness is not the same as fruitfulness. He heaps up riches for someone else to spend. Ouch. Here, I've heard it said this way. Don't run the rat race, because even if you win, you're still a rat. Something to think about. Not sure all that means, but that's fascinating, because we can get so busy making a living that we forget to make a life. The biblical approach to the holidays is to stop busyness that isn't fruitfulness, because it ends in nothing. Remember, you can be busy and still be a sloth because you're not doing the things that God really wants you to do. That's what we're talking about. Psalms 46 is going to say it this way. Be still and know that I'm God. We can fill our lives with so many things that we can find ourselves just like the innkeeper, right? Just no room for God in the end. This is amazing. Think about this. The first people that Jesus tells that the Messiah is born are the shepherds. They're dirty, disgusting, smell like sheep poop. They were lowest of the lows. They were lower than diseased people. They were outcasts. They were considered very low. God tells them first before anybody else that the Messiah is born. Do you know why? There are several reasons. One reason is this. Because they just weren't busy. They were available. Seriously, they were just out watching their flocks by night. That's all they had going on. And the angel said, go check it out. They said, okay, we got nothing else to do. Round up all the sheep, off they go. That's a very real thing. It's not the only reason, but it's a very real thing. If you are always responding to, if your life is always rushed, you feel like you're always busy, always going, then no wonder you also probably feel that God never speaks to you. Be still and know that I'm God. Psalms 10 says it this way. Look at this. This is a great verse for Christmas. Busyness. Reverence for God adds hours to each day. You know what that means? Whatever you give to God, He gives you back more. When you give to God time, the paradox, the irony is He gives you back more. When you give God money, He will give you back more. When you give to God blessing and honor and talent and resources or anything, He gives back to you more. But let me be clear about this. It's not a magic formula. He only does that when our heart is right. You can't say, I'm going to give God $100 so I can get 200 back. I need 200 bucks. I'm going to give God 100. That's not how that works. It's generous, joyful, heartfelt worship that God gives back to us in whatever way He chooses. I'm not saying don't go to parties, don't do all this stuff. I'm not saying all that. All I'm saying is this. Let every heart prepare Him room. Let every heart prepare Him room. Do that. Busyness. The third thing, let's talk about familiarity. This one hits me more than the others that I'm going to share with you, because we can get so familiar with the Christmas story and the Thanksgiving story and all that jazz that we aren't inspired by it anymore. We know the story. We know the wise men and the star and the shepherds. I'm going to tell you the story about Thanksgiving this Thursday night or this Wednesday night. We know all that stuff. If we know it so well, it's the kind of thing where we can go into Christmas with a ho-hum attitude. This was the mistake in the first Christmas of the religious leaders. God comes to earth for the first time ever in human baby flesh form, and not one religious person is invited to the party. That's fascinating. Not one scribe, not one rabbi, not one priest, not anybody, not one scholar. None of them are invited to the party. Instead, he asked the magi and the shepherds and these kind of people. So the wise men from far off, long ways off, we're not sure, China, India, Iran, Iraq, we're not sure where they came from. They see a star in the sky and they follow it and they come to Herod, who in turn going to need to talk to the scholars. This is what he says in Matthew 2. When he, that's Herod, had called together all the people's chief priests and teachers of the law, he asked them where the Messiah was to be born, in Bethlehem in Judea. So that's the scene. The magi come, these wise guys, these sorcerers come, and they ask Herod, where's the one born king of the Jews? He's like, I don't know. So in the middle of the night, he calls all the religious leaders and asks them for the details. And they knew all the details that goes on to tell us. So they come to Herod, and they say, well, here's the details. There's going to be probably a star in the sky. There's going to be magi that come, standing right before them. He's going to be born in Bethlehem, by the way. It says that in Hosea. It's been written for 400 years. I mean, they're telling Herod all this stuff. And here's the amazing thing. They don't go check out any of it. Isn't that fascinating? Wouldn't you go? I mean, it's the middle of the night, and guards come and get you, and they bring you to Herod's palace. Come to Herod's palace. He needs you right now, the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning. You show up, there's magi there, 3 of them, 100 of them, we don't know, these sorcerers with their big hats and their staves and their gold and frankincense and myrrh. And Herod's like, you guys got to tell me. They're coming looking for the baby, the king of the Jews. Tell me about him. Where is he? And they're like, well, I give all the details. And it never dawns on them to go check it out for themselves. The magi are there, the stars in the sky, it's all happening, and they don't even think to go. Wouldn't you think to go? I would think to go. I would probably say, I'll get back to you with that information. I'll be out the door and I'd go first, wouldn't you? Taking pictures. The Messiah. Been there, done that, whatever. But they don't go. Maybe it's because it's too far. Nope. You know how far Bethlehem is from Herod's palace right there in Jerusalem? 5 miles. 5 miles. Walk it in less than an hour. Run it quicker than that. So they don't even think to go check him out. Their lack of curiosity is just stunning. And this can happen to any of us if we're too familiar with the Christmas story. So many people across this nation and the globe, really, will participate in all kinds of Christmas traditions. Christmas trees, lights, presents, singing Silent Night, holding a candle. They'll do all that kind of stuff, shopping, all the business, and show no concern for why we even do this in the first place. Show no concern for the reason for the season, as they say. Why do we do Christmas? To celebrate the gift of having a relationship with God. And if you miss that one thing, and don't let it settle on you powerfully, you've missed Christmas, even if you set up a tree. That's the point. Here's how to finish strong with this. Matthew 2:8. Go and search carefully for the child. This is what Herod tells the Magi. Now, of course, he wants to kill the baby, but regardless, this is what we should do. Search carefully for the child. Why are they called wise? Because they were smart enough to go look for the baby. And they were smart enough not to report him back to Herod. They were wise. We should do it too. You want a good family activity this Christmas? I challenge you, as a family, at dinner time, started this Thursday, Thanksgiving if you want, or today, whenever. Search in the New Testament. You can do this online, BibleGateway.com. You can just type in the words, I have come. And there are 13 statements in the New Testament where Jesus says why he came. I have come so that you might have life. I have come so that. I have come so that. And you can study those 13 different times in the month of Christmas and learn why Jesus came in the first place. It's a good family devotional guide. Here's another one. The fourth one out of 5, fear. And band, you can come backstage and get ready. Fear. This is, hear this. Some people are simply afraid of Christmas and they fight it. They've coined a phrase called the war on Christmas. And I don't know all about that, whether it's legit or not. I'm not going down that road. But I can tell you there are stuff that happen. There are lawsuits against nativities. You can go in some places and they'll have a nativity, and there'll be right next to it a satanic display. You seen that? Now, that's extreme, but they do that. Then there's people like to fight this battle. It's silly, but they fight over a holiday tree. They could call it a holiday tree rather than a Christmas tree. I don't know if that's a big deal to you, but interesting. Then they've got this website. It's called the Naughty List, where you can go and look up all the companies that tell their employees not to say Merry Christmas. Well, first of all, that's stupid, okay? Don't boycott those because of that dumb policy, whatever that is. They'll know we're Christians by how we love each other, including the world. But yet, it's out there. So there's this war on Christmas. In both directions it's going. And partly, it's because people are afraid of the message. And this is King Herod's problem. This is King Herod's problem. Let me tell you about Herod. Herod was an Arab who was not born a king. He fights his way to becoming a king. He takes the throne, and he makes everybody around call him the king of the Jews. Now you can see why he's mad that there's going to be a baby to be born to be called king of the Jews. So he made everybody call him that. And he worked under Roman authority to oppress the Jewish people. For years he's been doing this. And he killed his way to get there, and he killed his way to stay there. He killed lots of people to defend his throne, to stay in control. He killed 46 members of the Sanhedrin. He killed several of his wives, including what he put in his notes as his favorite wife. That's interesting. He killed his mother, 2 of his sons, his brother-in-law. And when he died, before he died, he told all the soldiers, he said, I want you to gather every leading authority in the area. There was 2,000 of them. Puts them in this Colosseum called the Hippodrome. And he says, when I die, kill every single one of them so that there will be mourning in all Jerusalem, all the land, because he knew that people wouldn't mourn over him, but he wanted there to be mourning when he died. So when he died, you know what they did? They set everybody free. And there was great celebrations. One of my favorite Christmas stories. Yeah, in your face, Herod. But Herod, here he is. King Herod was disturbed at the birth of the baby, and all Jerusalem was with him. That's when he decides to kill all the babies 2 years of age and under. The birth of Jesus still disturbs people. Now, we may not have the same fear, but we are fearful as what it means to follow Jesus. We're fearful that it'll take our freedom, it'll take our fun, or I'll become a fanatic, and I've got to wear a 3-piece polyester suit and do weird stuff, and but that's not what it is. He doesn't come to that. The truth is, you were made by God and for God, and until you embrace that, you will not have a life that makes sense. Herod didn't want anybody to be in control except him, constantly murdering for this very reason. We want also to be in charge and not serve anybody. That's what fear can creep in at Christmas, that we're relinquishing control. Here's how to finish strong with this. Luke 2 says this, do not be afraid. This to the angel says to the shepherds, I bring you good news that will cause great joy for all the people. It doesn't say I bring you bad news of great misery. Good news of great joy. What's the good news? 2 things. You can have a fantastic, fulfilled life. That's good news. Your life can have purpose. And your life only has purpose when you connect with God, the one who created you, who can tell you what that purpose is and lead you to it. Great purpose. Secondly, you can have eternal life. The only way we can live for eternity with Jesus in the kingdom of God is through the gift of Jesus Christ. So fear keeps us often from giving Jesus the gift that we need to give him at Christmas. You know what? That's why we give gifts. You know that, right? Because Jesus was given to us as a gift from God, so we give each other gifts. That's why we do that. What's the gift you give the king who has everything? What do you give a king who has everything? You give him the one thing he doesn't have, and that's your heart. If there's anybody in this room who has not given your life to Jesus, fearful about what that means, the gift you can give to Jesus this Christmas, all he wants is your heart. Lastly, let me say this. Here's the 5th and final point for you to finish strong this year is to express your gratitude. It says this in 2 Corinthians 9. You will be enriched in every way so that you can be generous on every occasion, and through us, your generosity will result in thanksgiving to God. This Christmas and holiday season, We need to show the world that Jesus is far more generous than Santa Claus. Not only to our family, but to our church and to the world we live in, and to relationships as we give love to each other. We want to do that. Feeling gratitude. It's Thanksgiving. This is what we're talking about. Feeling gratitude is like wrapping a present and not giving it. That's how we don't express gratitude. We don't express gratitude. It's like having a gift that we don't give. God has given us so many wonderful things. We want to express that gratitude because that's a biblical concept. Come this Wednesday night, and I'll tell you the story of where Thanksgiving began, because regardless of what the world tells you, it did not begin with the Pilgrims. It begins in the Old Testament. It's all from God when he wants us to give gratitude to him, to give thanksgiving to him. And out of that, we become joyful and generous. We're going to sing a song in closing for you. Kyle's going to lead it to us. It's a new song. Probably halfway through the song, Katie will stand you up as you get it. But it's a song of thanksgiving to God. And I hope that you'll sing this and learn this and let this flavor your mind and heart as we head to Thanksgiving.